Fraud is a constant threat to your notary commission. You need a shield. The book by Derrick Spruill, Notary Fraud Shield, could provide you with some advice. Learn real-world tactics, notice red flags, and develop refusal strategies to protect your notary commission. Buy your copy of Notary Fraud Shield by Derrick Spruill from any online bookstore, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, booksofmillion.com, bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerrickSpruill.com, or download from Kindle to obtain your essential notary book to help with all your notarization starting today.
Imagine a total stranger just walking off the street demanding to look through your private property.
Yeah.
It feels like a massive violation, right? But under the new 2026 Pennsylvania regulations, you might literally have to stand there and let them do it.
Welcome to Notary Knowledge. Here are your hosts, Marylyn and Eddie.
Welcome to Notary Knowledge. If you are tuning in, you aren't looking for a basic tutorial. You already know your way around a notarial certificate, and you definitely understand the heavy weight of that seal.
Oh, absolutely. Our listeners are seasoned pros.
Right, and as we've discussed on previous shows regarding the evolution of state laws, the landscape is just shifting rapidly. The standards for professional practice are, frankly, higher than ever.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, the Department of State has finalized some extensive regulations that completely modernize how you operate.
Yeah, and that's why today we are bringing you a masterclass. We're calling this edition the Keystone Code, Pennsylvania Handbook Trivia. We are going to test your high-level expertise on the precise and honestly tricky nuances of the March 28, 2026 Arilona regulations updates.
It is essential to understand these updates. We are looking at massive shifts concerning remote online notarization, journal privacy, and conflicts of interest.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. And we want to go beyond just memorizing the statutes today. We're going to explore the mechanisms of these laws, like the actual why and how behind them, so you can fully protect yourself from the public you serve.
Exactly. Now, before we jump into the gauntlet of our 10 trivia challenges, I want to give a quick reminder to continually invest in your craft. You can elevate your daily practice by picking up the Notary Knowledge books authored by Derrick Spruill.
Those are fantastic, by the way.
So good. And be sure to frequently visit the Notary Knowledge website for all the latest regulatory updates. Also, for a deeper visual perspective, check out our video companion show, No Notary, with Eddie Montes Travis.
Yes, highly recommend that one.
And for those quick daily refreshers on the go, watch Marylyn's 90 Seconds of Notary.
Really phenomenal resources for any serious practitioner who, treats their commission like a true profession.
All right, let's get into the structure for today's masterclass. I will present 10 multiple-choice questions covering the complex realities of Pennsylvania notary law.
It should be fun.
Oh, it will be. We will give you a few seconds to lock in your answer. Then we'll reveal the truth and dissect the legal logic behind it. Let's kick things off with jurisdictional boundaries in the digital age.
A hot topic right now.
Right. In the ink and stamp days, this was simple. Now it's a bit more complicated. So here is your first scenario. Betty is located in Arkansas, and she needs a document notarized remotely. You are a commissioned Pennsylvania notary.
Okay, I follow.
So where must you physically be located to perform this remote online notarization? Option A, anywhere in the United States. Option B, within Pennsylvania's geographic boundaries. Or option C, within 50 miles of the Pennsylvania border. Take a moment to lock in your answer. 2 the 3-second pause.
All right, if you guessed B, you are perfectly aligned with the law. You must be physically located strictly within Pennsylvania's geographic boundaries.
This represents a pretty fascinating philosophical shift, doesn't it? The physical location of the notary is now the sole jurisdictional anchor of a remote transaction.
It really roots your digital power in physical dirt, so to speak.
I love that phrasing.
Yeah, that is exactly how you have to think about it. Under the Arilona framework, the sovereign authority of your commission is granted exclusively by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Therefore, your boots must be on Pennsylvania ground at the exact moment the remote notarial act is executed.
Even if Betty is on the other side of the country?
Exactly. The signer Betty, in this case, can be in Arkansas, or, she could be sitting in a cafe in Paris, France. The law permits the signer to be outside the United States, provided the document involves property or a transaction substantially connected to the U.S.
Wow, okay. But your power as a notary does not cross those state lines.
Not even an inch. If you are sitting in a hotel room in Ohio, even just 1 mile past the border, your digital stamp carries absolutely no legal weight.
That strict geographic boundary naturally makes you think about other strict boundaries, like the ones between you and the people you're notarizing for. Let's test your knowledge on a scenario involving Paul in Pennsylvania.
Let's hear it.
So, Paul brings you a power of attorney document. You review the paperwork and notice you are named as one of the 2 required witnesses to the signing. Can you notarize this document?
Well, this is a good one.
Option A, yes, if you don't charge a fee. Option B, yes, if you aren't the agent. Or option C, no, absolutely not. Lock it in. 2-3-second pause.
The correct choice here is C. No, absolutely not.
Now, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Doesn't this happen constantly in small towns? A guy comes into a local insurance office, he needs a power of attorney done, and he's short a witness.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Right, so the notary just steps in to be helpful, they watch him sign, they sign as a witness, and then they stamp the acknowledgement. Why is the state so rigid about just stepping in to help a neighbor?
Because that well-intentioned helpfulness can lead to catastrophic legal failure. The rigidity exists to protect the legal integrity of the document itself.
How so?
Well, under Title 20 of the Pennsylvania Consolidated Statute, Section 5601B3, a notary public is strictly prohibited from taking the acknowledgement of a power of attorney if they serve as one of the 2 required witnesses to the signing.
Because acting in a dual capacity fundamentally destroys your role as an impartial witness.
Precisely. The foundation of your commission is total disinterested impartiality. If you are a witness to the instrument, you are an active participant in the execution of the document. You cannot impartially authenticate a process in which you are a player.
That makes total sense.
Right. Imagine a disgruntled heir challenges that power of attorney in probate court years down the line. A sharp lawyer will see the dual capacity notary, point out the statutory violation, and potentially render that entire document invalid.
Destroying Paul's estate plans just because someone wanted to be helpful, that perfectly illustrates why we need to understand the mechanism of the law, not just the physical stamping process.
Exactly.
And that idea of protecting the public from catastrophic harm leads us right into the cost of doing business. Let's look at the bond increase.
Oh boy, yeah.
Under the new 2026 regulations, what is the new required surety bond amount for a Pennsylvania notary? Option A, $10,000. Option B, $15,000. Or option C, $25,000. Think about it. 2 to 3 second pause.
Lock it in. The answer is C. The bond has increased to $25,000.
That is a massive jump from the old $10,000 requirement. I imagine that caught a lot of people off guard.
It really did. But it reflects the severe reality of the modern real estate and financial landscape. This increase was driven largely by the urgent need to combat rising issues like deed fraud.
Which is rampant right now.
It is. And we have to remember what a surety bond actually is. It is not malpractice insurance for the notary. It provides 0 protection for you.
Wait, none at all?
None.
Huh.
It is essentially a pool of funds that protects the public from financial harm caused by your errors, omissions, or fraudulent acts.
Right. Think about the Commonwealth versus Shell case in Philadelphia, which involved a highly coordinated, massive deed fraud ring. A single forged deed can just wipe out a family's generational wealth.
Absolutely devastating.
In that context, a $10,000 bond is just a drop in the bucket. The higher limit offers a much more realistic safety net for the public. But let's clarify something for our veteran listeners. If you currently hold an active commission, you are grandfathered in under your existing $10,000 bond, correct?
Yes, that is correct. The new $25,000 requirement triggers upon your next commission renewal, so you do not need to rush out and amend your current bond today.
Good to know. We will be right back with more trivia after a quick commercial break. Stick around. Welcome back. So if the bond protects the public from your mistakes, our next scenario is about protecting the public from your potential biases. Let's look at spousal conflicts.
This one gets tricky.
It does. Can you notarize a document for your spouse if the transaction results in a competitive business advantage for them, but absolutely no direct cash changes hands? Option A, yes, if it's not cash. Option B, no, that is a prohibited pecuniary interest. Or option C, yes, if they show proper ID. 2-3 second pause.
This one trips up a lot of people, but the correct choice is B. That is a prohibited pecuniary interest.
I can totally see why people might choose option A. We tend to think of the word pecuniary strictly as like the physical cash currently sitting in our wallets.
Exactly. But the law is incredibly broad here.
Yep.
Under 57 PNCS Section 304A, you are strictly prohibited from performing any notarial act where you or your spouse has a direct or pecuniary interest.
So it's not just cash on the barrelhead.
Not at all. The legal definition of pecuniary interest extends far beyond cash being handed across a table.
Which means it covers the ripple effects of the transaction. Like, if your spouse owns a construction company and is securing a contract that gives their business a competitive edge over a rival notarizing, that document entirely taints the impartiality of the transaction, even if they aren't handed a check that same day.
Exactly. It encompasses actual gain, potential gain, financial benefit, or competitive advantage. The only financial interest you are legally permitted to have in a notarization is the standard non-contingent notary fee. Anything beyond that is a violation.
Got it. Now, because we can't rely on personal relationships or financial ties to authenticate a document, the physical ID becomes our only lifeline. But what qualifies as an acceptable ID is shifting.
It definitely is.
Let's test your knowledge on the expanded ID list. Which of the following is now explicitly listed as an acceptable form of government ID for a Pennsylvania notarization under the 2026 rules? Option A, an expired U.S. passport. Option B, a Pennsylvania medical marijuana identification card. Or option C, a generic corporate employee badge. Lock it in. 2-3 second pause.
The answer is B, a Pennsylvania medical marijuana identification card.
Now, looking at option B, my first instinct is that there is no way the state would allow a medical marijuana card to be used for a sworn legal affidavit. It sounds like a trap.
It really does sound counterintuitive to some, but it makes perfect sense when you look at the strict state controls required to issue those specific cards.
Oh, because of the background checks.
Right. The Department of Health has a rigorous vetting process. The 2026 rules vastly expanded what constitutes satisfactory evidence of identity to reflect modern, secure, state-issued credentials.
So it's essentially recognizing that the state has already done the heavy lifting of verifying who this person is.
Precisely. Acceptable IDs now explicitly include Pennsylvania medical marijuana IDs, inmate IDs issued by the Department of Corrections, provided the individual is currently in state custody, and Pennsylvania State University or state-related university IDs.
But there are still baseline rules for those, right?
Always. The fundamental bedrock requirement remains the same. The ID must be current, government-issued, and contain a signature or a photograph. An expired passport or a corporate badge simply does not meet those security thresholds.
That makes a lot of sense. But handling that physical card in person is one thing. How do we verify an identity when there is no physical ID to hold in your hand? Let's move to identity proofing in the virtual world.
This is where tech meets the law.
Exactly. If you don't personally know the signer, what identity proofing methods must be used during a remote online notarization? Option A, just looking at the ID on camera. Option B, a mailed copy of their ID. Or option C, at least 2 different types of identity proofing processes like dynamic KBA and credential analysis. 2-3 second pause.
The correct choice is C. You must use at least 2 different types of identity proofing processes.
I like to compare this to a digital bouncer at a highly secure, exclusive facility.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, just holding your driver's license up to a webcam is not going to get you past the velvet rope. The digital bouncer has a strict 2-step verification process.
And it is a highly sophisticated process, too. Step 1 is credential analysis. The system uses algorithms to scan the security features of the ID presented to the camera.
Like checking for watermarks.
Right. It checks the microprinting, verifies the holograms, and extracts data from the barcode to ensure it's not a high-quality fake.
And the second step is dynamic knowledge-based authentication, or KBA. This is where the bouncer quizzes you.
The pop quiz phase.
Exactly. The system generates highly specific questions drawn from the signer's credit history and public records, like questions about old addresses from 20 years ago or the make and model of a vehicle they used to own.
It ensures the virtual interaction provides a higher level of security than a simple face-to-face glance at a driver's license.
It ensures that the person on the screen isn't just holding a stolen ID, but actually owns the life history associated with that identity.
Exactly.
All right, we are going to take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we are talking about your sacred journal.
See you in a few.
And we're back. So once that digital bouncer lets them in and you verify that identity, you have to record the transaction. But what you write down in your journal can actually become a massive liability if you record the wrong thing.
You have to be so careful here.
Let's look at the privacy ban in the journal. Under the March 28, 2026 final rule, which of the following is strictly prohibited from being written in your notary journal? Option A, the signer's address. Option B, the fee you charged. Or option C, the signer's complete social security number or mother's maiden name. 2-3 second pause.
The answer is C. You are strictly prohibited from recording complete Social Security numbers or a mother's maiden name.
This is a major update for veteran notaries. Older guidance used to be a little murky about what you could voluntarily record, but the 2026 rule specifically for CAM, Code Section 167.32D, is absolutely uncompromising.
It is a total ban on personally identifiable information, or PII, that could be used to trace an identity or facilitate fraud.
It's all about preventing identity theft, right?
Exactly. Think about the mechanism of identity theft. If you write down a full driver's license number, a date of birth, and a mother's maiden name, and your journal is lost or stolen, you have just handed a fraudster a complete starter kit to drain someone's bank account or open fraudulent lines of credit.
So how do we record the ID used without giving away the keys to the castle? I think of it as leaving a breadcrumb trail without giving away the whole loaf.
That's a perfect analogy. You are only permitted to record what the state calls terminal numbers.
Meaning just the last few digits.
Right. This means you only write down the last 4 digits of the driver's license or passport, along with the date of issuance or expiration. It's enough of a breadcrumb trail for a court to verify which credential was used, but useless to a thief trying to steal an identity. Biometrics, full numbers, and sensitive family names are totally banned.
Now, leaving a breadcrumb trail implies that someone eventually is going to follow it, which brings us to who actually gets to look at this journal.
Let's examine public inspection.
Can any random person walk off the street and request to inspect your notary journal? Option A, yes, any person can request an inspection in your presence. Option B, no, only law enforcement. Or option C, no, only the signer. 2 3-second pause.
The answer is A, under 4Pay. Code Section 167.36A, any person can request an inspection, provided it occurs in your presence.
Wait, let me stop you right there. I have to push back on this.
Go ahead.
The law explicitly states under 57 PNCS Section 319 that the journal is the notary's exclusive property. I went to the supply store. I paid for the book with my own money. I own it. Why does the general public have a legal right to walk in and demand to inspect my private property?
It is one of the profound paradoxes of the office, really, but it makes perfect sense when you separate the physical book from the data inside it.
Okay, I'm listening.
You absolutely have exclusive custody and ownership of the tangible property like the physical bound paper or the secure digital file. However, the ink on those pages represents a contemporaneous log of public service. A notarial act is, by definition, a public act.
So it's a difference between custody of the physical object and the public nature of the record itself.
Exactly. Because it is a public record, transparency is foundational. Any person can orally request an inspection. They don't need a subpoena, and they don't even need to submit it in writing.
But I'm guessing there are guardrails to protect my custody.
Oh, absolutely. The law vigorously protects your custody. It mandates that the inspection must happen under your direct supervision, in your physical presence. They cannot take the book into the hallway. They cannot photograph pages containing other people's transactions. You manage the inspection so the record cannot be altered, copied improperly, or stolen.
Handling these inspection requests, managing these incredibly detailed records, identity proofing across the globe, it is a heavy public service, but, you also have to keep the lights on in your business.
You do.
Let's pivot to how you bill for that service with the signature witnessing fee. Under the updated 4PAA, Code Section 167.3, what is the maximum base fee a Pennsylvania notary can charge for the specific act of witnessing or attesting a signature? Option A, $2 per document. Option B, $5 per signature. Or option C, $10 per person. 2 3-second pause.
The correct choice is B. It is exactly $5 per signature.
This clarifies a lot. Before 2026, the fee schedule was completely silent on the standalone act of witnessing a signature.
Oh, it caused massive confusion about how to bill for it versus an acknowledgement or a jurat.
Right.
Indeed, it was a huge gray area. Now, the regulations explicitly cap the act of witnessing or attesting a signature at $5 per signature. Notice that is not per document, but per signature.
And what if this is a remote online session?
Furthermore, if you are performing this act electronically or remotely, the law permits you to add a remote notarization surcharge of up to $20 per notarial act.
Which means understanding your billing units is critical. It allows you to remain strictly compliant with state caps while appropriately valuing your time and the substantial technology investments required to run a remote practice.
Exactly right.
Well, we have arrived at our final trivia challenge. No matter how many fees you collect or journals you fill, every commission eventually comes to an end.
Sadly, yes.
Let's look at the end of the line. When you resign or your commission expires without renewal, what is the legal deadline to surrender your tangible journal to the County Recorder of Deeds? Option A, 15 days. Option B, 30 days. Or option C, you keep it forever. 2 to 3 second pause.
Lock it in. The answer is B. You have exactly 30 days to surrender your journal.
So once that commission lapses, the Commonwealth essentially demands its property back. You don't get to keep it as a nice souvenir of your career.
Definitely not. They demand the preservation of the evidentiary tool. You must deliver it to the Recorder of Deeds in the county where you last maintained an office.
What's the core logic there?
The logic here is long-term security. This ensures that 20 years from now, long after you have retired, if a deed or a will is contested in court, the chronological, tamper-evident log of your public acts remains fully accessible to the legal system. You are the guardian of that record during your commission, but the county is the ultimate archivist.
It all comes back to being an impartial guardian of the transaction from beginning to end. If you navigated all 10 of those questions, you have officially survived the Keystone Code Masterclass.
You really have. And as we close out today's analysis, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on regarding that long-term security.
Let's hear it.
We just established that your physical paper journals go to the County Recorder of Deeds 30 days after your commission ends. They take the burden off your shoulders. But remember the rules for the virtual world.
Oh, right.
The audio-visual recordings of your remote online notarization sessions must be retained by you or your designated digital repository for 10 full years. As a high-level notary operating today, you are no longer just an ink and paper witness. You are a digital archivist independently holding a decade of evidentiary history.
That is a staggering responsibility.
It is. So ask yourself, are your personal data storage practices, your cloud backups, and your cybersecurity protocols truly ready for that kind of extreme longevity?
That is definitely something to evaluate before you log off today. Email your questions to Derrick at derrickspruill.com. We will try to answer as soon as possible at the end of our shows.
We always look forward to hearing from you.
Executive producer Derrick Spruill, lead writer Marylyn Trotter, graphics Eddie Montes Travis, music Thomas Bynum, produced by Magnificent Workz Business Solutions.
Have a safe and successful week out there.
Don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge. This is Notary Knowledge. Until next time.
Since you started your notary business, strive for excellence. Introducing the book, Notary Operational Excellence by Derrick Spruill. Build your business on a beacon of precision and trust with expert advice. Check out Notary Operational Excellence by Derrick Spruill from Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Bookshop.org, Mobile Notary by DerrickSpruill.com, or download from Kindle today.